Hey, everybody. What is up? Ashleigh Mayfield, and I am back with another episode, and we're going to talk about how can you fix if you're not where you want to be. At some point, it is just par for the course. As a high-achieving woman, you are going to be putting in all the work, showing up with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, and you're just going to fall short, or maybe you're just not meant to be there yet. So what can you do in those moments? What we're not going to do, and I want to make this very clear from the get-go, is self-deprecate. Plain victim mindset, scarcity mindset, woe is me, I knew it wasn't going to happen, I'm such a loser, I'm so stupid. None of that stuff helps you, okay? And so if that is your immediate go-to, number one, personal development is going to be your best friend. Learning how to not beat yourself up, but support yourself where you're at. And I can find, or just tell you from my own experience in the last 10 years that anytime I have not been where I want to be, which spoiler alert, it happens more often than anything else. I mean, my God, I'm not where I want to be more than I'm where I want to be, okay? This idea of constantly winning and constantly being in limelights and constantly being recognized and constantly crossing finish lines, it is not real. You are going to have more hard days than good. You're going to have more bad days than good when you're pursuing your dream. However, I've never been someone that's going to go sit in a corner and have a victim mindset, right? And so that's one thing I don't even tolerate around my friends in my inner circle. And so I sure as heck, I'm not going to tolerate it from y'all, my listeners. So don't do that. Do personal development. Find ways to swap that negativity out. Find ways to swap that voice out. I promise you that's like the foundation of what we've got to talk about today, okay? But I want you to know that every high achieving woman has been here. Like being frustrated is so normal. And there's going to be moments where your frustration lasts for days, for weeks, for months. Like it's just par for the course. So frustration is normal, but staying stuck isn't. I do think at some point, if you are having a bad month and you had 30 days where things didn't go good, you should be taking my brain works month to month. So whenever you hear me talk month to month, it's just my brain resets on the first of every month. We have a new month to show up, new energy, new goals, tighter discipline. What can we do to move forward? So for instance, it's July right now. If July doesn't go how you want it to go, my God, you shouldn't repeat the same stuff in August. That would be stupid, right? Literally. If you already know that everything you did isn't where you want it to be, why repeat it in August? However, if you show up in July and August and it's both not where you want to be, it's going to be a cold day before I'm content with doing the same thing in September. And some people, isn't that the definition of insanity? They say, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, but expecting a different result. And we've all heard of that, but it's tried and true. It's so true. There's so many people frustrated with where they're at and they do nothing to change it. My God, I cannot relate. If I have similar results 2 months in a row, I'm getting hot. I'm complaining. I'm frustrated. I'm doing something about it. Okay. So my goal is not to call you out. My goal is to call you higher today. It's going to be a little bit more direct, but my God, we got to stop, hokey pokey and with our dreams, our goals, our work ethic, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, expecting there to be a change. No, we're going to nip it in the bud. We're going to take action. Today's the day. If you're not where you want to be, we're going to get back on track. So let me give you a couple tips that are going to help you do that. I think the first thing you can always do as a high achieving woman, as someone who is developing her personal leadership, take accountability and ownership. You have to get honest about your activity. And there are different levels to activity. Obviously, this is the moment in time when someone wants to put, well, but what about my situation? I can't break down every freaking situation on a podcast, okay? And so if you don't have the emotional maturity to have that discernment of what's applicable to you and what's not, then this isn't the podcast for you. Amen. But there's levels to being honest about your activity. The first level is showing up, right? You can't even make progress. You can't even cross finish lines or even think about it if you're in a position where you're actually not even showing up for yourself. So the first level of activity is you do have to show up. I think the second level of activity is you have to track what it is that you're doing. You have to make sure that you're measuring, you're eliminating the guess. There are too many women wanting to make progress and they're guessing. well, I might have, I think I did, I hope I am. That's not going to help you cross finish lines, babe. It's not. You have to eliminate the guessing. Showing up aimlessly without a plan, you could actually just be running in circles. And I'm sure we've all done that at some point. You get what I'm saying? Like you want to lose weight, but in your eating, but you're not counting the calories. You don't know how many people you've talked to, but you're trying to increase your sales. Like that doesn't really make sense. You don't know how much money is on your credit card, but you keep saying your goal is to pay your debt off. These things aren't in alignment. So you have to make sure that you are like, you have a base of knowledge of you're not only showing up, but you know where you're showing up, you know what you're working on, you can track progress, track numbers. And I think the third level of you having an honest conversation with yourself is gauging whether you are consistent. And if you are consistent, does it need to increase, right? Here's what I find. I find people who give half get frustrated. They can't sit with people who give whole. I don't know how that frustrates you. I don't know how it frustrates you that you only put in 20 minutes at the gym, but you want results as if someone who did 60 minutes. I don't know how it frustrates you that you only DM 5 people, but you want the same results as someone who DMs 50. Boggles my mind, but yet it does, right? So you're not going to grow unless you start having an honest conversation with yourself. And are you working hard or are you working on the right things? And I think that there's a level of progression. Again, if you're not even showing up for yourself, you've got to first start showing up. You can't increase intensity before you've developed the consistency. And this is where people get confused on like, oh, success loves speed, so I have to show up and go fast. No, success loves speed because it wants you to make decisions quick, stop living in paralysis analysis, stop living in decisiveness, right? But it also, once you have a consistent rhythm and you're doing the thing, then kick it up a notch. And so it's not just this blanket statement, oh, success loves speed, so go run in 50 million directions without any guidance, without any plan. Best of luck. Yeah, that's a disaster, like setting yourself up to fail. And I don't think that's what you want to do. Right. And so I think it's really important that you're first honest with where you're at. That way you can measure what direction you need to take. The second thing I would tell you, if you're not where you want to be, this is the kicker. Stop waiting until you feel motivated. Your action creates motivation. Okay. People think that motivation and confidence, you know, they only come before, what do they say? Confidence only comes before work in the dictionary. You have to work. It takes you showing up. It takes action, 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 action over and over and over for you to start feeling motivated on the inside. A lot of times, this is Ivan Pavlov, right? To get over stuff or that, have the dog, show the dog a treat, ring the bell, the dog salivates. We want these instant results. We want these instant things. And at some point, we have to start treating ourselves like toddlers. We have to start disciplining ourselves again. If you're constantly complaining that you don't feel motivated to change your life, well, at what point will you? When you get the doctor diagnosis? When your husband finally says he wants to separate? When you're tired of being the loser of the circle? Like, how low do you have to go in order for you to realize, hey, I can change this through discipline? Action is what you need to move forward. It is not about feeling motivated. My God, you're not going to feel motivated in anything that you do, whether that's going to a career, it's volunteering at your church. Yeah, you're going to have days you'd rather sleep in than go hold the door open for people at your church. Give me a freaking break. You're not better than anybody. You're going to have days you don't want to wake up and feed that baby in the middle of the night. It's not about motivation. It is about discipline. And more often than not, when it comes to bettering ourselves, when it comes to personal leadership, we lack discipline. We're not willing to do the things we need to do. And if you could just learn through personal leadership how to show up like you do in the 4 walls of your career, when you walk into your job, you do what you need to do. Why? Because I don't know, you don't want to get fired. Your bills depend on it. Your boss will be breathing down your neck and you don't want to deal with that crap. Well, why can't you take that same discipline an external pressure of confinement. I have to, if not, then this, right? If no work, then fired. If fired, then no eat. Like, okay, break it down into 3-year-old terms. But why can't you do that in your own personal life? I think that too many people, when it comes to bettering their life and personal leadership and personal growth, personal development, they allow themselves to be led by their feelings. And your feelings are terrible leaders. Your feelings are terrible leaders. A lot of people want the result without putting in the work. A lot of people want the momentum without putting in the work. And the momentum doesn't even come once you start doing the work. That's why it's important you have action, right? Action will create a sense of internal motivation, inspiration, right? But the action creates the movement creates the momentum. So you got to stay in action. It's not just doing action, it's staying in action for X amount of time for it to catch. And if every time you stop when you don't feel motivated, then guess what? You're always starting over. Do you know what people who do that are? I'm sorry. They're losing. They're not losers, but they are losing. You are losing in life if every week you have to start over. You are, my God, you are losing in life if every month is a reset. If every month is starting back at 0. That is not a badge of honor. Okay? Stop waiting until you feel motivated. Successful people don't feel like it every day either. In every area of your life, in any area of your life, you're not always motivated. Get over it and build some discipline. I will also say, when you don't feel like showing up or you're dissatisfied with where you're at, I think one of the things that we tend to do is we tend to look at the left and the right. Now, this is where people want to say comparison is the thief of joy and, don't look at other people. And I agree with that. However, and this is another podcast for another day, there is a dichotomy to that. There is a dichotomy that when you are healthy and you are pouring into yourself and you do have a level of personal leadership that, my God, being able to look at someone else and extract disciplines from them, be able to be inspired, be able to say, oh yeah, I'm ahead of that, right? We like to act like personal growth isn't a competition. I'm sorry. You are in competition with other people, right? You are. And so, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about how people, when you're underdeveloped and you don't have a level of emotional intelligence, you do tend to look to the left or the right. And women are the worst at this, right? I think men do it too, but but women are the worst of this. And I see so many women quit on themselves because they have set themselves up for failure. They're measuring their chapter 2 against someone's chapter 20, or they're measuring what they know about themselves to what they don't know about somebody else. Because don't we do that? We show up on social media and we assume that they have it all together, but we know that we don't. We know that it's so hard for us and it's such a struggle and they have it easy. They have to have it easy. No, that's what they're showing you. They want you to think they have it easy. I can't tell you how many times I've cried to my husband in the bathtub, okay, when we're playing mermaid. We play mermaid, okay, and I'm crying like, I don't want it to be easy, but I wish it could be easy. Okay, we all feel that way. We all feel like our struggles are the worst, okay? But, however, when you focus on your lane and you celebrate your progress and not perfection, that's actually what gets you out of that rut. When you can stop thinking that every finish line is you holding a microphone on a stage, sometimes the finish line is you checking off your to-do list at the end of the day. And if you can't do that because people don't know and they're not clapping for you and they're not celebrating you, then you've already got the idea of success far wrong in your head. You get to celebrate your progress. The competition of looking to the left or the right can absolutely steal the energy that you need in order to go to your what's next, just that next step. And so if you're too consumed with following people, stalking them, seeing where they're at, knowing information, that's energy that you need to put your head down and focus on where you want to go. So who do you need to unfollow? And who irritates you? Because if you're jealous of what people further ahead of you have, then you're not ready for it either. That's a whole nother topic, right? Learning to clap for other people who get what you want before you, right? Also, I think it's so important when you're not where you want to be, you have to make decisions based on who you're becoming. You need to act like the leader before you get there. You've heard me talk about this on stages before. Become the person your result requires. That means keeping promises to yourself. That means not giving up because you're having a bad attitude and you're acting like a little baby. That means not giving up because the dog got sick and it was an inconvenience to clean the vomit up off the floor. That means not giving up on the day because your boss yells at you and held you accountable to something that wasn't even your responsibility, right? You need to keep the commitments that you make to yourself. And that means waking up late or waking up early and staying up late. Some people, oh, what am I supposed to sacrifice sleep? Yeah, it takes what it takes. It costs what it costs, right? Become the person your result requires. You need to have the habits and build the habits that are going to build your future, that your future self will thank you for. So if what you're doing is never changing, if you're not changing anything with the person you're becoming and the person you need to become to get the results, would they be proud of you right now? Probably not, because you're not doing all that you can. Are your habits supporting your future? Is there evidential proof that the disciplines you have in your life right now are moving you towards the desired outcome that you're praying about? My God, you're praying about it. It's all in God's timing. I'm sorry. Maybe the Lord is ready for you to take action. Maybe the Lord is ready for you to lay a brick every day, right? Like your success, like your abundance, like your, whatever finish line you're trying to accomplish is just going to fall in your lap. Is that really what you think? Is that really what you think? I don't think so, Tim. I don't think so. Okay. That's not how it is. Okay. And so you don't have to be, at this perfect place today. You don't have to go full throttle. Slow and steady wins the race. And I do believe that. I do believe that you can be the tortoise and I do believe that you can be the hare. But if you're doing the right things consistently, you should be farther in 6 months from now than you are today. There should be evidential proof of progress. There should be fruit that's growing on the tree. The goal is not overnight success. Like that, getting it fast means you can lose it fast. Easy doesn't pay well, and easy is not sustainable, right? There's no sustenance in easy. You don't want easy, so you don't want overnight success. The goal is becoming the person who can handle the success when it arrives, becoming the person your results require. You have that capacity. You need to take action. And if you are stuck, you need to do whatever it takes to get yourself out, because the worst place you can be is the exact same spot you are today that you are in 3 months, in 6 months, let alone, my God, an entire year. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Can't wait to grow with you.